Have you ever wondered what happiness is and why it matters? Let's delve into it. Happiness, in its simplest form, is a state of well-being that encompasses positive emotions and a profound sense of meaning. But it's not just about feeling good, it's about leading a good life. Why does happiness matter, you might ask? Well, it's not just a desirable state, it's also a springboard to numerous benefits for our health, productivity, and relationships. Let's look at some research to put this into perspective. Imagine a group of 700 men, all followed over a period of 80 years. What do you think was the primary predictor of their longevity? The answer is the quality of their relationships. Yes, happiness, derived from strong positive relationships, was found to be a significant factor in how long these men lived. But it's not just about living longer, happiness also affects how we work. Picture this. A group of employees, some happy, some not. Now, who do you think would be more productive? If you guessed the happy employees, you'd be correct. A study found that happy employees outperformed their less happy counterparts by 12%. In other words, happiness isn't just a personal benefit. It has positive ripple effects on our physical health, our longevity, and even our professional lives. But how do we measure happiness? It's not as elusive as it might seem. Happiness is a dynamic state, not a fixed trait. It's shaped by our choices and actions. While half of our happiness is determined by our genetic makeup, a significant 40% is within our control, with the remaining 10% influenced by our circumstances. So, what does all this mean? Simply put, your happiness is in your hands. You have the power to influence it and shape it through your actions and choices. Clearly, happiness is more than just a pleasant feeling. It's a vital component to a fulfilling life. A life filled with positive emotions, strong relationships, and a deeper sense of meaning. It's not just about feeling good, it's about doing good and being good. It's about leading a meaningful and fulfilling life. And that, my friends, is the beauty of happiness. Did you know that happiness is not a fixed trait, but rather a dynamic state? It's a fascinating insight that has been illuminated by numerous scientific studies. Happiness, it turns out, is not something that is predetermined or unchangeable. It's a fluid condition that varies depending on a combination of our genes, our personal choices, and our circumstances. Let's break it down. Research suggests that about 50% of our happiness is determined by our genetic makeup. This means that some people are naturally inclined to be more cheerful or content than others. But that's not the entire story. Another 10% of our happiness is influenced by our circumstances. These can be things like our health, our income, or our environment. While these factors can have a significant impact on our mood, the surprising fact is that they account for a relatively small portion of our overall happiness. So, where does the rest come from? Well, a whopping 40% of our happiness is under our control, influenced by our daily behaviors, our outlook on life, and our relationships. This is a significant chunk of our happiness that we can directly influence. What does this mean? It means that happiness is not a static state, but a dynamic one that can be cultivated and grown. It's like a garden. While we may not have control over the weather or the soil quality, we can choose what to plant, how to care for it, and what pests to guard against. Similarly, with happiness, we can't control our genetics or every one of our circumstances, but we can control our actions, our attitudes, and our interactions with others. We can choose to cultivate positive habits, engage in activities that we enjoy, build strong relationships, and maintain a hopeful outlook on life. So while it may seem like our happiness is something that just happens to us, the reality is that a large portion of it is in our hands. We can actively influence our own happiness by making conscious choices and actions that align with what brings us joy and fulfillment. This means that we have the power to influence our own happiness. Isn't that a delightful thought? So how can we increase our happiness? Well, happiness, like any other state of being, requires cultivation. Picture it as a garden, if you will. To witness the bloom of joy, we must plant the seeds of positivity and nurture them with conscious effort. Let's dive into some of the habits that can help us grow our happiness garden. Firstly, expressing gratitude. This is the art of recognizing and appreciating what we have and what others do for us. It shifts our focus from what's missing in our lives to the abundance that's already present. Think of it as watering your garden, nurturing the seeds you've planted. A simple way to practice this is by writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Or if you're feeling a bit more outgoing, why not thank someone who has helped you or brightened your day? Next up is cultivating social connections. These are the relationships we have with others. Like sunshine to a garden, they provide warmth, comfort, and joy. The simple act of spending quality time with those who matter to you or reaching out to someone you haven't connected with in a while can help nourish this aspect of your happiness garden. Lastly, finding meaning and purpose. These are the reasons we do what we do, the very soil in which our happiness garden grows. They give us direction, motivation, and fulfillment in life. To find your meaning and purpose, identify your core values and passions. Pursue goals that align with them, perhaps lend a hand to a cause larger than yourself. Remember, these are not one-off actions, but habits. They require consistency, patience, and time. But the rewards they reap are bountiful and lasting. Just as a thriving garden is a sight to behold, so is a life filled with happiness. It's not just about feeling good, it's about creating a life that feels good to live in. By adopting these positive habits, you can start cultivating more joy and fulfillment in your everyday life. And that, my friends, is how we increase our happiness. In conclusion, happiness is not only a pleasant feeling, but it's also a powerful force that shapes our lives. It's a state of well-being that brings forth positive emotions and a true sense of purpose. This is an energy that can improve our health, boost our productivity, and enhance the quality of our relationships. The science of happiness tells us that it's not a fixed trait, but rather a dynamic state. Half of it is determined by genetics, but a significant 40% is under our control, and the rest depends on our circumstances. We can increase our happiness by expressing gratitude, cultivating social connections, and finding meaning and purpose in our lives. These are simple yet effective ways to focus on the positive aspects of our existence and foster a sense of fulfillment. Thank you for investing your time in understanding the science of happiness. Remember, the power to cultivate joy and fulfillment is within your reach.